Hi, I'm Saren.
And I'm Ray.
We're your Spider Baby hosts from To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast, as well as proud members of the collective.
You're listening to Capes and Lunatics. Gimme, gimme.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there are threats that no one hero can face alone. On a day such as that, there shall rise a team of Avengers! Avengers Declassified. Hello, folks. I am your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pits,
Phil Podcast Perich.
Phil Podcast Perich. So glad you're here. So glad as we discuss Avengers 185, 86, and 87.
Yeah.
The secret origin of the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Also,
Yes.
although really, it's Quicksilver is such a secondary character in this.
I know.
But he's important in his own way, I guess. But you kind of understand why he eventually kind of goes off his nut and betrays the Avengers, the Inhumans, and everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Low rent Namor, basically.
Oh. All right. So you want me to get the synopsis for this?
Yeah.
All right. So
You
yeah.
want to start with?
But-
Do you want to do like all three, or do you want to do one, then the two, then the three?
Well, I'll do the one, and then if we want to discuss it, then do the two if we want to discuss it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the first one, Avengers 185 from July 1979. The Yesterday Quest. Writers Mark Grunwald, Stephen Grant, and David Michelinie. Penciler John Byrne.
Burn.
Inker Dan Green. Colorist Roger Silver. Letterer John Costanza, and editors Roger Stern and Jim Salicrup. All right. So
Wait, Stephen Grant?
I know there's a writer named Stephen Grant. That's weird. I don't know if men named him after. I don't know.
It's interesting.
Mm.
It's a question. Yeah. So what happens this issue, Philip?
All right. Well, the story opens in the aftermath of the previous issue's battle with the Absorbing Man. We'll do that someday.
Yeah.
Iron Man placates the arriving police by stating the Avengers will pay for... Well, he's like, we take a check from Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Captain America introduces Falcon to his new teammates. Disgruntled and embittered Hawkeye sticks around just long enough to utter a few snippy remarks before storming off in a huff.
So why are they like kicking Hawkeye off the team?
Well, I believe isn't this right after the whole Korvac thing, and like I think this is the point where Gyrick is like, you have to have a certain amount of members, to keep your charter or whatever, and I think that was like one of the stipulations is Gyrick says Falcon has to be on this team.
Okay.
So
so what, you can't have more members, or?
I think they had a set number. I forget, what was it, like 6 or 7? Yeah, they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Gyrick's like, you have to have a set number, and and he was like, just like later on with U.S. Agent, they're like, yeah, no, the Falcon has to be on the team.
Yeah, it's.
Which again, it could be worse.
We need a black guy. Let's face it. This is.
Well, yeah.
Not a good look for you guys,
Yeah. But again, I mean, it could be worse. He's not like a government agent, and he's like Cap's friend, so it's like, well, I should have been like, well, it could be worse,
Yeah, well, and although actually, yeah, it's weird. I don't know why they're insisting on him being on the team. Although, I guess it's fine. I guess maybe they didn't want. Maybe they. I really don't know why Guy Ritchie is getting involved in that decision. But and this is Tony Stark Iron Man right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's still obviously putting up the ruse that he's not really Tony Stark.
Yeah, I think he still had a secret identity. Yeah. And and I think like that David Michelinie's one of these writers. I think he was writing Iron Man's book at the time. That's why we're getting all the references to the Iron Man book, because he's like, oh, hey, I know what's going on in Iron Man right now.
Yeah. Well, and that is a weird aspect of this, because it feels like between this episode and next episode, they like get an extra person, and they don't really explain how he got there.
Oh yeah, because they got like Wonder Man takes Iron Man's place.
Wonder Man shows up and he's like, yeah, well, good thing you picked me up. But one of my favorite aspects of this book is, and it's interesting because in this, they're both going as Wanda and Pietro Frank.
Yes.
Because at this point, they believe they are the child of the Wizard and Miss America, who were the Franks, Robert Frank and I forget her original name. But at the same time, they were already Maximoffs, and they're with a blind gypsy named Maximoff, who I guess is telling them he's the one who raised them, which they do remember. And we see like little Quicksilver, who is a disturbing looking little boy.
Oh yeah,
I'm just gonna say
give him like the same hair and stuff. Yeah,
it's like if Peter Dinklage played Quicksilver. Just a full adult, but just like compacted. They remember Bova. Bova's like the weird thing. That's not out of the memories, but it is strange how. I guess when did they do? Do you know when they met Maximoff? Or Django Maximoff?
Well, they kind of get into that because after they're born, then they take them down to the they say the gypsy camp or whatever.
Yeah. Although it's interesting in this because they're not saying who their father is, but he suddenly gained power and started ranting.
Oh yeah, I know. They still didn't say.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's next issue. We don't get that yet.
All right, let's get to this. All right, across the ocean in East Transia, Wanda and Pietro and Django check out the hotel for the night. Pietro shares a room with Django across the hall from Wanda's own. He advises her that she can call on him easily if there's any trouble. Wanda remarks that she feels completely safe as if she's come home. Pietro has difficulty sleeping. Despite believing his parents to be the Wizard and Miss America, he has hazy recollections of an earlier life lived among gypsies and a pair of adults, making him promise to always look after Wanda if something should happen to them. Despite his troubled mind, Pietro eventually drifts off to sleep. Very late at night, Wanda's sleep is disturbed by a mysterious visitor, Modred the Mystic. He offers to help her find the answer she seeks, but only her alone, as the path is dangerous for those without arcane abilities. Reluctantly, she agrees to go with him. Modred magically clothes her in her costume, and they fly off into the night. They are seen.
And can we just take a moment to say, Scarlet Witch sleeps naked?
Yes.
I love that. It's a good fact, and I just think that we should just acknowledge it. And she's very comfortable with her body.
She said she felt like she was home, so
yeah, it's. Not even a nightie. I love that. I just, hey, as a person who loves, is a naturalist myself,
I feel like that's a John Byrne note.
She sleeps naked. Totally naked in the nude.
They are seen flying away, however, by a waking young villager from her bedroom window. Modred takes Wanda to the precipice of Wundagore Mountain. She is startled to see the remains of the High Evolutionary Citadel, which have fallen into ruins since he departed the world. Yet still, there are defensive security measures that attack them. Although Modred receives a minor injury from one, Wanda disables it with a hex. They enter the ruins of the stronghold itself and see before them a floating book and altar. Sound familiar? The book, Modred intones, belongs to his Dark Master. Then Modred fells Wanda with a bolt of arcane energy before relating that to the altar for Wanda. The mountain is silent except for the low rumble of laughter. The next morning, Pietro discovers Wanda missing. Alarmed, he races around the village searching for her but finds no clue. As he slumps to the ground in despair, a young girl, the witness from the prior evening, tells him she saw Wanda fly up to the top of Wundagore last night. Pietro suddenly recalls that Django said there were lights in the sky over Wundagore on the night he and Wanda were born. He races up the side of the mountain so fast that he isn't aware of someone watching him. He slams full tilt into a force field barrier, gets knocked unconscious, and tumbles a good length of the way back down the side of it. Quicksilver awakens much later in a small mountain cottage way up the mountainside. Here we go. He sees a matronly figure who is resewing his torn costume and addresses him by name. When he asks who she is and how she knows him, he sees her face for the first time. She's a humanoid bovine, and she claims to have brought him into the world.
Yay, Bova!
Yay.
We love Bova. Oh, I can't see that on my phone. But, yeah, Bova, who, she got her reference in WandaVision. It was her brand of milk they were drinking.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an interesting place to end it here. Obviously, we are getting the hints of that multiversal madness, the Darkhold, what we're opening up here. But, Philip, tell us what happens in issue 186.
All right, so Avengers 186. Again, next month, I believe. Let me see, the team is the same. Oh, hold on, screen's jumping around. All right, so Knights of Wundagore.
Yes, with an N, not a K.
Yes, yes.
That's how they get you.
After taking a tumble, Quicksilver is awoken, in the cottage of an anthropomorphic cow who apparently knows him very well. While tending to his cuts and scrapes, the bovine relates her story and Quicksilver's own. Pietro's rescuer is named Bova, and she was the first of the new men created by a high evolutionary who would become the Knights of Wundagore with a K, this time with a K. Mm-hmm. Bova was created specifically to be a midwife, nursemaid, and nanny to any children in the Citadel. One winter night, a desperate and very pregnant woman came to the Citadel seeking sanctuary. Her name was Magda, and she was fleeing from her husband, a man who had acquired extraordinary powers but used them cruelly.
Yeah, I wonder who that's going to be.
Having grown afraid of him, she ran away shortly after she realized she was pregnant. Bova delivered Magda's twin children, a boy and a girl, Pietro and Wanda. Bova recalls seeing peculiar lights in the sky on the night the twins were born. However, soon after the birth, Magda vanished. She left a note stating that if her husband ever found out about the twins, he would seek them out. Fearing his evil influence on her children, Magda instead chose to wander out into the storm and end her life rather than risk her husband discovering them. Bova asked the High Evolutionary what they should do with the infant. They agreed that Wundagore was no place for normal human children, so he invited a traveling American couple, Bob and Madeline Frank, who had formerly been the World War II era superheroes The Wizard and Miss America, to the Citadel. Madeline had already given birth to one mutant child, the Avengers' former opponent, Nucleus, and was pregnant again and feared the worst. The High Evolutionary intended to have Bova deliver Madeline's child and give them the twins as well. Alas, Madeline's labor was a disaster. Her horribly deformed child was stillborn and the mother died shortly afterward. Bova presented the twins to Bob Frank and attempted to pass them off as his own. But when he learned his wife was deceased, he fled from the Citadel in grief. And thus, this led to the Wizard's later mistaken belief that he was the twins' father.
Yes. I'm a little confused there, because I thought that the other baby that was born here was Nucleus.
Oh, I guess there was another one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because it was the stillborn baby that was Nucleus, and then they came back to life. But,
I wonder
it's been a while since I've read any of these.
And so. I wonder if they're trying to cram certain facts in the continuity,
Yeah, it's trying to readjust it. Make it fit. Yeah. Okay, as you were saying.
Finally, the High Evolutionary presented the twins to a Roma couple, Django Maximoff and his wife, members of a caravan in the foothills of the mountain. Django's wife had recently lost twins of her own. The gift of the twins was seen as a kind of divine intervention. Their children were being restored to them. At the end of Bova's recounting, Pietro realizes that Django is the man who raised him and Wanda. When he asks who his father is, Bova cannot tell him as she doesn't know. Pietro is left with one unanswered question. Where is Wanda?
Where's Wanda?
Far up the mountainside, Wanda is magically bound by Modred atop the unholy altar as he intends to use her as a vessel to bring his dark master back to this world. She frees herself via a hex and a magical battle ensues. Wanda realizes she can't fight Modred on this level and cedes the battle. Then she surprises him with a roundhouse left, knocking him off the cliff and down the mountain. But Modred has a surprise in store as well as he appears behind her and knocks her out with a bolt of mystical energy. Just as Quicksilver is saying goodbye to Bova, Wanda's face appears as a sinister apparition in the night sky. The Vision lashes out at Pietro and Bova with a lightning bolt, although Pietro's speed saves him and Bova. The Vision warns that he will die if he attempts to seek out Wanda. Quicksilver runs down the mountain and encounters the Django in the woods. They are attacked by magically animated trees, but escape. Braving a number of magical assaults, they return to the village where Quicksilver places a call to Avengers Mansion. The Vision answers the call. In the mansion dining room, the rest of the active team is enjoying a meal together and discussing Iron Man's current dilemma. Yeah, did you see that? They mentioned, someone took control of his armor and killed like a diplomat. I believe that was Justin Hammer.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah. So I think that's why they kind of wrote him out of the rest of this, because it's like, oh, there's some like diplomatic thing, till we iron this out. Iron Man's gonna,
take a break.
Yes.
Yeah.
Captain America has temporarily taken over as the team leader in Iron Man's absence. The Vision then bursts in and tells them of Pietro's call. Just as they start getting ready to go, Gyrick refuses to allow them to go. He states that Pietro is not an active member of the team and there is no U.S. security interest. Thus, they don't need to start another international incident. Exasperated, Cap leaves the room to place a mysterious call. The Beast and Gyrick trade insults. Then Gyrick gets a call from the U.S. President authorizing the Avengers mission.
Well, Cap knows people.
Friends in high places, yeah.
Yes.
Cap smirks in the background. Once more, the team is about to leave, but Gyrick still has to throw his weight around. He demands that the Vision remain behind. One active member must remain behind on monitor duty at all times, and the Vision is in the middle of his shift. Fed up, the Vision is about to slug Gyrick when Cap intervenes. He promises to bring Wanda home safe and sound. The Vision relents, although he's extremely unhappy. Back in East Transia, the Django and Quicksilver are ambushed by Wanda, except it's not Wanda. She is possessed by the demon Chthon.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right.
So, here's my big question on this. So, Garrett just says that Vision has to finish his shift. He can't, make one of the other people do the phone monitoring in the meantime.
Exactly, I know. I was waiting for some of the other Avengers to go, make Falcon do it, or something, but
I mean, really, it is his first day. Maybe he doesn't need to run. Maybe phone duty is actually it's a good training, So
yeah, and while you're sitting there waiting for a call to come in, you can read through the files and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of files. There's all sorts of stuff. You got all these declassified stuff. You got to brush yourself up on.
You might want to boat up on some of these people who might be trying to kill you in a future battle.
Yeah, it could come in handy. And that brings us to issue 187, where luckily they stopped and picked up Wonder Man.
I know.
And it just makes you wonder, where was Wonder Man that was the convenient guy to pick up?
I don't know. I mean, not in this story, but there's been other stories over the years where they're like, okay, well, who's closest? Okay, well, I'm trying to remember. So, I mean, I'm assuming Wonder Man's one of their reserves, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously he is, but, and I guess, without Vision, they kind of need someone else who's an extra powerhouse.
Well, that's what they say.
They really only have Ms. Marvel as the, strong one here right now,
Yeah.
Well, I guess Beast is pretty strong, too.
Yeah, but not Wonder Man class.
Yeah, no. They did not up Beast's strength until much more recently.
Yeah.
This was back when he was maybe really, really strong dude, but he wasn't he wasn't Spider-Man strength even, at this point, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it might have been Spider-Man strength, but not
Yeah.
Not Hulk strength, not Wonder Man strength. But we get a nice little fight here with Mordred.
Mm-hmm.
That goes well. You know what I really like about this episode?
How?
Is when Chthon gives his origin story.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's interesting, because it's very different, I feel, than a lot of what we've gotten on his origin story after that.
Yes.
Where he refers to Gaia as his sister, and that they were together, and that they were, and interesting in that idea of, similar to maybe Wanda and Pietro, that they're brother and sister, both doing their own thing, and that she moves on to become the life force of the Earth, and then I was banished from my dimension. But it doesn't seem like they're antagonistic in this. They would later become much more antagonistic in their stories to tell, but I find that the most interesting aspect of this.
Oh, yeah.
Just this different take on that, on Chthon's origin.
All right, you want me to do this last one?
Yeah. You can go back and
Yes.
give us the deets, man.
All right, again, everything, the same team and everything. The Call of the Mountain thing. A Quinjet hurls through the skies of Transia near Wundagore Mountain in the middle of a ferocious storm. On board, Captain America thanks Wonder Man for filling in on this mission while Iron Man is on leave. The Beast is piloting and warns them they are losing control of the Quinjet due to the storm. Wonder Man, who is invulnerable, volunteers to pilot the ship to ensure it doesn't land on anyone while the rest of the team bails out. Miss Marvel, Falcon, Cap, and Wasp all jump out, but the Beast refuses, insisting on landing it himself. Wonder Man yanks him out of the pilot chair, straps his jet belt onto him, and tosses him out the hatch. Unfortunately, the Beast has no experience using the belt, and he careens out of control. The rest of the team makes it to the ground, but are immediately attacked by Modred the Mystic. Wonder Man does his best to steer the craft, but it crashes deep in the woods. As he climbs out of the wrecked ship, he sees Wanda, although she doesn't appear on screen. She snares him in a spell, paralyzing him and floating him away. Modred takes out the Avengers one by one, Cap, Miss Marvel, and the Falcon, but the Wasp gets the drop on him, knocking him out. Alas, she is then knocked out with a bolt of arcane energy by Wanda, who has turned ash and white after being possessed by Chthon. Elsewhere, the Beast endures his own crash landing on the mountainside. After dusting himself off, he finds a skull wearing a helmet. The skull doesn't look human, and the perplexed Beast wonders what kind of animal wore helmets. Sometime later, Chthon and Modred stand before the altar with their captives, Cap, Miss Marvel, Falcon, Wasp, Wonder Man, as well as Quicksilver and Django Maximoff. All of them float in midair, paralyzed. While awaiting the proper alignment of stars to conduct a conjuring spell, Chthon monologues his ancient history. In primordial times, when the old gods were threatened to be replaced by newer ones, Chthon's sister, Gaia, infused her spiritual essence to the earth itself, while Chthon inscribed the Book of Sorcery, the Dark Hold, as a means to return to this plane of existence someday, but fled to another dimension. Throughout the centuries, the evil tome passed through many hands and was used for malevolent purposes. In medieval times, the sorceress Morgan Le Fay and her cult of Darkholders conjured up Chthon himself, expecting to use him as their minion, only to find him too powerful. Morgan and her cult attempted to banish him, but only succeeded in binding his spirit to the mountains of Wundagore. Morgan's repentant follower, Magnus, stole the Darkhold and placed it in an enchanted tower which only good and noble people could enter. Alas, the human Modred entered the chamber, hoping he could use the Darkhold for good purposes, and lost his soul to the demonic being, the Other. Meanwhile, Chthon lingered in Wundagore Mountain as a disembodied spirit, observing the rise of the High Evolutionary Citadel and the Knights of Wundagore. Chthon observed the birth of wandering Pietro and infused the infant Wanda with magical energy. That was the lights. Twice in her lifetime, he caused her mutant hex power to fade, hoping she would return to witchcraft. When Wanda finally did study witchcraft under Agatha Harkness, she became an ideal vessel for Chthon to possess. Having finished the monologue, Chthon is about to begin a spell to return his corporeal form to Earth and thereby become an apocalyptic menace to humanity. Aren't they all? But the ritual is interrupted by a surprise intruder. A Knight of Wundagore? Question mark.
Sort of.
Yes, astride a flying chariot? The knight is actually the Beast. After deducing what the skull he was looking at was, he dug up the rest of the skeleton and found the armor and sky chariot. Using it, he snatches the Darkhold away, disturbing Chthon's spell, holding the Avengers in paralysis.
Well, he actually he doesn't just knock it away. He stabs the book.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Similar to what we see in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Except here the book does not burst into flames.
Nice. The Avengers attack Chthon, but he is more than a match for all of them. On the sidelines, Django is watching the battle with dismay when he feels something stir in his coat pocket. It is the marionette of Wanda he carved. Wanda's soul has been transferred to it once again. Django shouts the news to Pietro just before keeling over. After realizing what he's saying, Pietro grabs the figurine and attempts to will Wanda's soul back into her true body. He can't do it himself, but all the Avengers join hands and unite their willpower. This is enough to reverse the possession spell. Wanda takes control of her body once again, with Chthon's essence is transferred to the marionette. Pietro hurls the figure into the mountainside, and Wanda uses a hex bolt to cause a massive avalanche, burying the marionette and trapping Chthon forever. Yeah, right. The battle hasn't come without a toll, however. Django suffers a massive heart attack and dies. Afterward, Pietro and Wanda bury Django in the foothills of Wundagore. Without Chthon's control, Modred has become as mindless as a newborn child. Bova, who was created to care for children, takes custody of him while the Avengers, with Wanda and Pietro in tow, depart. Okay, wasn't the last issue? In one of those flashbacks, wasn't there was it uranium in that mountain or something? That's why.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's like all kinds of radioactivity, and this is actually where you get that puppet master clay.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's interesting, and this is what I find interesting in that, because of course the puppet master also had puppets. Makes me wonder if he was utilizing some wood from Wundagore, because that's effectively what Django is using here, which is a puppet made of wood from Wundagore that he is using to hold Wanda's soul. And then, of course, the entire Avengers use that power to do the transfer to put Chthon into the little dolly.
Yes. But again,
So
I'm just like, hey, let's take the supernatural menace and like bury him on a mountain full of uranium. That can't go wrong.
Well, they didn't know that there was uranium in it at the time. And I think it's also sort of that weird question about, is the radiation infused with, chthonic energy? And that's like the whole idea. Which, I mean, obviously that is what it is. It's like, it's that
but
magical.
But even still, I'm just like, we're going to leave it here buried under... I know they buried it under a ton of rock, but it's like, what if someone discovers it one day, or,
you mean the little toy?
Yeah, the marionette. Yeah. I'm like, if nothing else, why don't we take it back to Avengers Mansion and lock it up in something, Yeah,
well, that's superheroes for you, They never really think...
That's comics of the time.
To be fair to them, that is, I mean, he has been trapped in this mountain for, literally thousands of years. So maybe this is as good a place to put him as any.
Maybe, yeah.
Because, and I guess the idea is like he can probably get away, and he probably does get away from the marionette, but then he just goes back to his home universe.
Yes.
Because he needs that vessel, is basically the idea. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's an interesting take on how there are... And it's interesting just how much they have retconned and rebooted Wanda and Pietro over the years,
Yeah.
Both first making them the children of the Franks, which to me still makes the most sense, because their powers are most similar to what Miss America's powers and the Wizard's powers were. Run fast, and then Miss America sort of had I mean, they weren't really hex powers, but they were definitely sort of almost telekinetic, and, you can see the parallels between how Miss America's powers worked and how the Scarlet Witch's powers worked. So I still like that origin better. They got rid of it here so that they could work in the Magneto, because someone decided that, I guess because Jack Kirby only has 4 hairstyles that he can draw.
Of course, that's your father. Look at his hair.
Exactly, you have his hair. I don't think that's how that works. Although to be fair, we see Pietro as a baby has the same hair. So it's like, wow, that's like that Osborn hair, man. It just
that's like that second. It's like a secondary.
True.
It's a secondary mutation.
Oh goodness! So so that's fun.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, it's an interesting take on it. And I really wish they had done more with Chthon's plan in Multiverse of Madness, because this is what we understand Chthon's plan is. He wants to get back into this universe.
Oh yeah. He
wants to, take control. And so every comic book fan, when you're watching Multiverse of Madness, that's Chthon's plan.
No, yeah.
Wanda thinks she's in control. Really, it's Chthon manipulating her and trying to get her to open up these doorways so that he can come into the universe. So.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, too. Even if they're going to do this in the movies, they're playing the long game, so we're going to have to wait a while for that.
Yeah. Oh, I have to say that, one thing I like right now is the idea that Chthon is better than Mephisto. So, as the Elder Demon. So, all right. You want to talk some other Avengers books that came out this week?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you think of Captain America, Symbol of Truth?
I liked it. Again, I mean, I thought it was pretty, even with Hellfire to say, hey, it's okay. So, I liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I mean, I kind of feel like it's weird that they're working with an anti-immigration senator that has black site prisons for illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
And Sam was like just totally cool. Like, no, yeah, go ahead, take him to the black site prison. So I didn't quite understand what was going on with that. But of course, obviously, Joaquin is going to follow them. So that's there. And then we get Rumlow meeting White Wolf. And this is the guy that was raised with T'Challa, right?
I believe so, yeah, because I know that even this, I think this list, it said something like, a Black Panther enemies, coming for Sam, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing. It's like, how long has White Wolf been an enemy of the Black Panther?
Oh, I can't remember. It's been a while. I mean, I can't remember.
Because Tristan didn't know that he was an enemy of the Black Panther.
Yeah.
And of course, for what it's worth, they named
Bucky
White Wolf in the thing. So I was like, I mean, I was shocked to find out that he's a villain now. So, that's just weird to me. But obviously, that is our arc that we're going to be getting in this, at least in the Symbol of Truth storyline. Although I do think that we're going to get a lot of interweaving between Sentinel of Liberty and Symbol of Truth,
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens in one book, is going to get paid off in the next. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I liked it,
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for more of this, and I want to see what they do with Steve's book and stuff, yeah.
I'm not quite sure about, the relationship between Misty and Sam, because,
Oh, yeah.
there is one.
Yeah, it kind of seems to be on again, off again, depending who's writing it and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Shang-Chi came out this week. Shang-Chi is technically an Avenger still.
Yes.
Because who isn't an Avenger nowadays? He has stolen the legendary 10 rings from the Jade Emperor.
Ooh.
His grandfather, though, he wants the 10 rings because he's going to use them to kill everybody. And they get into a whole fight. His grandfather actually steals the rings, but he can only pull 6 from Shang, who uses the remaining 4 to protect his family. The Jade Emperor comes down, and he's not having any of this. And basically says, hey, look, you know what? Go bring your grandfather here. Bring me back my dang 10 rings, and we'll discuss this. There's a big fight in Chinatown, obviously, and Shang is being, tempted by the rings because his father, Fu Manchu, is there, and he's like, oh, man, get the rings, become, seal the power, become like me. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that, yada, yada, yada. I'll never be like you. But he does take the rings. He starts to get all evilly. See his eyes even glow here. And then, he comes back because he realizes that, that he's got his friends and his family, so they're going to stick together. They defeat his grandfather, return to the Jade Emperor. Jade Emperor is basically like, yeah, thanks for the rings, kid. You guys all get to live. His mom gets gets made the new leader of the Riders of Tao Lo, and we get to a 1 month later where Brother Hammer goes back to the vault because it's the proper thing to do. I wonder if he's going to get off for good behavior at some point. Shang-Chi is now kind of seen as a hero with his 5 Weapons Society, and now he's got the 10 rings have been sent to work with him. And next month, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, #1, on sale. Coming soon, kids, to a theater near you. Do you have another Avengers book you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, we'll talk some Hulk vs. Thor Banner of War Alpha #1.
Yeah, Banner. Tell me about that, because I was soft on this. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Just because it just seemed like another Punch book. And it's like, I don't know. I am not into the Gamma Knot character.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm jumping through universes and that kind of stuff. It seemed oddly forced, and I just don't like the idea of the engine room Hulk.
Yeah. Again,
that's me. I'm going to say it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and again, it's like it starts with the Watcher recapping both where Thor and Hulk are at right now while he's eating popcorn.
As you do.
Yes. So we get there.
Cosmic popcorn.
Yeah, and then at the end of what was that? At the Hulk issue, we see Hulk and Thor encounter each other because I think Sif tracks down Hulk for him because Thor throws out like once or twice where it's like, oh yeah, how many people did you kill? Was it San Antonio or something? He's like, how many? I guess the Avengers are looking for the Hulk now.
Again? Didn't we?
Yeah, I know, but Ray agrees with you. He says he's not enjoying this current Hulk run.
Yeah, I just it's odd to me.
I
think they want to make the Hulk a killer, and I just don't think the Hulk works as a killer.
Well, I just wonder if we're going somewhere with this because, with Betty, because, Betty's like in the Hulk's head and like, Odin's in Thor's hammer. So like throughout these like battle, like, you see Hulk and Thor just like, shut up, I'm fighting it, basically like I'm fighting here,
Yeah, they all got these voices in their heads, so.
Yeah, and then we get our body horror because Thor puts the hammer down on Hulk's back. He's like, no, I got you pinned, you're not going to be able to move, and Hulk just like rips himself through the hammer.
Oh, Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, no, it's, because they're, so yeah, again, it is like a big fight scene, but then,
yeah.
Thor, someone tells Thor to do this, so, I guess he can project Odin out of the hammer because guess who shows up in Banner's, quote unquote ship at the end of the issue?
Odin,
yes, shows up on his old school look and goes, "I would have words with thee, Banner."
Oh my, yeah. I kind of feel like both the Hulk and Amazing Spider-Man gave me like nice jumping off points.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know what they're doing, but I think I'm done with whatever this story is.
Okay, yeah, because it's like the next 2 issues of Thor, next 2 issues of Hulk is where this thing continues, yeah.
Yeah, nah. Ugh, God.
I mean, I'll give it a try. We'll see where it's going, but yeah, I know the whole Starship thing. I haven't been that into it either, but I'm just wondering if maybe he's possessed, if something's taking the form of Betty, and
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but if Thor's gonna have this too, I may just drop Thor now too. It just really does not strike me as an interesting arc. And I hate to say that, but
I think they want to do something big because both these characters are 60. It's the 60th anniversary of both this year.
Yeah, like I said, I'm all for doing something big. I don't know if this was what they needed.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, something big is more than just, let's have a big fight. It's like, let's find out about ourselves and evolve a character and talk about what's the next step in this character's story.
Yeah, we'll let you know because this issue was the big fight, so maybe we'll get something of more substance as we go forward. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, we will see. My last book this week was, of course, King Conan #4. It's good, man. It is nice. It has 2 parallel stories. One of Conan and Amontoth on the Isle of, zombie monkeys and trying to kill him. There's a lady on this place who's trying to get someone to take her place as the, watcher of the zombie ape land kind of thing. But of course, neither Toth nor Conan want to do this, but, they formed their uneasy alliance, although Conan points out, like, man, the last time that we had a deal, you stabbed me, you literally stabbed me and threw me off a mountain, so, they both agree not to kill each other until they're off the island. Then they will both happily kill each other. Meanwhile, Conan and his son, in the flashbacks, he has recently wants to put his son into exile because he feels his son doesn't know how to be a proper barbarian. He hasn't earned. He feels his son hasn't earned the right to be king the way that Conan, earned the right to be king. And they go through this big fight, and it's like, the kid's trying to talk his dad down, and Conan's not having it, and at first, Conan, does a few interesting moves that knocks his kid on his butt, as you're going to do. But then the kid starts outsmarting Conan. He makes the point that you think I'm soft because I didn't live my life your way. What you don't understand is I was raised by Conan the Barbarian. So I actually went through stuff you can't even imagine. And then makes the point that not only was I raised by Conan the Barbarian to be, the world's greatest fighter and all that kind of stuff, I've also been raised in the court of Aquiline, and I know every single thing about ruling this country and all of the different diplomatic aspects of this. And this is King Conan II, and it's a very beautiful thing, about, like the hardest battle he ever fought was, when he had that the only person who ever could beat him was Conan. So that, and then they embrace, and then that's how Conan goes off on his next round of adventures, which is how he got on, Spider Skull Island with the zombie apes, and that's what we're going to deal with next week, I guess. So hopefully they figure out how to get off the island, Phil.
Yeah,
we're going to find out. But I do love King Conan. This is an Avengers book because, as we've said, Conan is in the Savage Avengers, which is coming back, I believe, in either June or late May.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get Savage Avengers reboot. Conan's still there, man, which makes me happy. I like Conan in the modern age. I like that they have both modern age Conan and Sumerian Conan going on. So
maybe he'll get some pants.
Maybe he'll get some pants. Well, they've had him wear pants in recent issues, so I'm hopeful.
Exactly.
Nothing else. If the guy just says no, I like the freedom of movement, he can just get a nice pair of Speedos.
True.
Like, they got stuff that does that. You don't have to wear the old stinky animal pelt. Get himself a nice kilt. He might like that.
He could get some of those old Ben Grimm trunks.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect. That would be perfect. Get some unstable molecules for Conan.
I will wear the Rock Monster's garment.
Yes. Alrighty, Phil. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, I think I'm good. Just next week we're for those of you curious about that Illuminati group, we're going to be doing New Avengers, the Illuminati miniseries, actually issues 0 through 5.
Yeah. And it struck me, really, Wong already does have his own Illuminati. Because if you think about it, the group that meets with Shang-Chi,
yeah,
at the end, it includes Captain Marvel,
Banner,
and the world's smartest man at the moment in the world, Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's the same structure as the Illuminati. We just don't have an Inhuman or a mutant or Captain America, but for obvious reasons. But we may be getting something soon. We'll see how the rest of the Illuminati builds out. But okay, Philip, would you like to tell people about how they can reach out to us, how they can help out the show?
Sure, yeah. Again, you can follow Avengers Declassified or any of our other shows on Facebook, on Twitter. Find links to the Avengers fan group, all our other fan groups, all the social medias, links to the YouTube channel where this and every other show gets a video. Links to the Patreon. Again, we're supporting this ourselves, so get early access to creator interviews, Mr. DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets. So yeah, we give you bang for your buck, and Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch, cups, t-shirts, phone cases, and more. So yes, find everything at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and And if you want that genius Charlie Esser, where can they find you?
Well, actually, because you didn't do our email or our phone number.
Oh, okay. Yes, CapesandLunatics send us, again, we've been giving you homework every week, kids. Send us your thoughts on the new Illuminati, or hell, send your thoughts on these Avengers issues we did tonight. We'll read them next time. CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Sorry, Charlie, it's been a long day.
I understand, man. And, I just wanted to say that. And, hey, if you want to write to me in the old-fashioned email way as well, just me personally, you can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things, but not Naomi because it's done, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. And when the battle is done, and the foe has been vanquished, the Avengers will return next week in Avengers Declassified. I gotta work on that.
That's all right. Yes, next week, new Avengers, the Illuminati.
The Illuminati?
Oh. But no, you were saying they don't have a Captain America, but they tried that in the comics, and they didn't seem to work out, did it?
No, but because you had Captain America, you had Captain Carter in the other one. So,
true.
But they could get like that.
Yeah.
That person who is like the representative of the hero.
We'll talk more next week. Good night.
Good night.
Hey there, everyone. I'd like to tell you about the YouTube channel I Am Your Target Demographic. If you're a fan of comics, we have plenty that you'll enjoy over there, including a series called Heroes Like Us that explores comic characters of all sorts of different identities. And we even have a series that defines words that are used in nerd culture that you may not know what they mean. So you can check us out by heading to YouTube and searching I Am Your Target Demographic, or look up IAYTD on any social media outlet.